This video goes with Kuta handout number 8, and it's basically explaining how we take an equation in standard form and change it to slope-intercept form and why we want to do that. And you got to remember that when we use a graphing calculator and or we would like to graph an equation quickly, it's really nice if we have the equation in what we call slope-intercept form, which is the form of y equals mx plus b. And the reason why we would like to have it in that form is because very quickly we can identify our slope and we can also identify our y-intercept. And so if we want to make a quick graph, it's just nice to have it in that form. Well, equations don't come in slope-intercept form. So I'd like to give some examples of why we would like to get it in that form and then how quickly we can graph something. So let's just start with problem number 1. And this is kind of a special problem to begin with. It says x equals 2, and this is one of our special equations to graph. And because I don't see a y, the only thing I see is an x, I don't see a constant or y-intercept, I'm thinking, okay, then if x equals 2, I'm going to find a positive 2 on the x-axis. And if I would like to graph this, remember these are vertical lines. So when it's in the form of x equals, it's very quickly to graph. We just find the positive 2, and we go ahead and graph it. Problem number 2, though. X minus 5y equals 0, that is in what we call standard form, and we would like to change it into what we call slope-intercept form. So I have my slope-intercept right here on the smart board, and I would like to just see if I can move things around in this equation in standard form to get it in what we call slope-intercept form. And so the first thing to remember is this, is if I would like to change sides of the equation, remember the equal sign kind of separates one side of the equation to the other. If I would like to change sides, like if I'm a positive x and I'd like to move over to the other side of the equation, I can do so, but the only thing I need to do is just change signs. So if I'm a positive x on this side, but I want to move over here, I become a negative x. I just change signs. So we're going to keep that in mind, and we're going to see if we can move some things around to get what we call in standard form. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this, and I'm going to start to move some things. I'm thinking right now I'd like to take this x and move it over here. So if I do so, I still have the negative 5y equals, but if I'm a positive x here and I change, I become a negative x. And remember, I want my slope first, so I'm a negative 1x, and I'm going to put the 1 there for the coefficient. Remember, it's a positive 1x here. They don't show the coefficient. If I change signs, I become a negative 1x, and my constant, or my y-intercept, is already over here, plus 0. It's already there. Well, I'm almost there. I would like to have y all by itself, but I have a coefficient of a negative 5. If I would like to get rid of that, what's the opposite of multiplying by a negative 5? I would divide by a negative 5, but I need to do that to every term. So I would divide this by a negative 5, I would divide this by a negative 5, and now I'm going to go ahead and get my equation in what we call standard form. Well, a negative 5 divided by a negative 5 becomes a positive 1, so there's my positive 1y. A negative 1x divided by a negative 5, well, we're going to separate the coefficient from the variable. Negative divided by negative becomes a positive, so I have a positive 1/5. Don't forget the x, we just removed the coefficient from the variable x. And 0 divided by a negative 5, well, that's still plus 0, and I really don't even need to write the plus 0. But that allows me to graph this equation very quickly. What's my y-intercept? 0, which means that it intersects the y-axis at the origin. And from there, I want to do my rise over run. Remember, my slope is set up, so I have my rise on the top, I have my run on the bottom, and if I want to do rise over run, I'm going to go up 1, and then over 5, up 1, over 5, and I would graph that equation. Or I could go backwards, back 5, down 1, I could find my slope. So that's the reason why we want it, so that we can get it very quickly in what we call slope-intercept form. I'm going to do a couple more examples. I'm going to do problem number 3. Wouldn't it be nice if I could get that 3x over there? Well, remember, it just changes sign, so I still have my negative 8y equals, well, if it's a positive 3x here and I move it over, it becomes a negative 3x. I already have my positive 40 on the correct side of the equation. The next step is I need to get rid of the negative 8, so I'm going to divide by a negative 8, but I got to divide everything by negative 8, everything by negative 8, and now I have my line equation. Negative 8 divided by negative 8 is a positive 1, so there's my positive 1y. And negative 3 divided by negative 8 is a positive 3/8, and I'm just going to remove the coefficient from the variable x, so there's my slope. Positive 40 divided by a negative 8 is going to be a negative 5, and I think I'm ready to graph that if I want to. I have my slope, I have my y-intercept. I'm going to start with my y-intercept at a -5, which would be somewhere there. And then remember, I want to go up 3, and then I want to go over 8. Up 3, over 8. And I could graph that very quickly if I have it in what we call slope-intercept form. That's also the form I need to put it into a graphing calculator. I'm going to do just one more example. The one I'm going to do is problem number 4. Wouldn't it be nice if I just moved this over here? And so if I did, I have y equals, well, if it's a positive 1x here, it becomes a negative 1x on that side. And I already have my positive 7. I think it's in slope-intercept form. I have my slope, which is a -1. I have my y-intercept at a positive 7. And if I wanted to graph that, let's just say that this is a positive 7 for my y-intercept. And I want to do a -1 slope, so that means I'm going to go down 1, over 1, down 1, over 1, down 1, over 1. I could keep doing that to graph it very quickly, or put it in the graphing calculator. So remember, to get things from standard form to what we call slope-intercept form, it's just basically isolating y on one side of the equation. We always want it on the left. We want it all by itself. And then we always put the slope first, and then the y-intercept makes graphing very easy.